In today's world, autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, is a term you've likely heard before. It's a condition that affects 1 in every 54 children, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But what exactly is it? ASD is a developmental disorder that affects communication and behavior. It's called a spectrum disorder because there's a wide range of symptoms and varying degrees of presentation. The earlier we can identify and understand ASD, the better we can support those who have it. That's why today we're going to talk about 10 signs that may indicate a child has autism. These signs, ranging from social interactions to repetitive behaviors, can provide crucial insights into whether a child might be on the autism spectrum. Remember, these signs alone don't confirm autism, but they can guide you towards seeking professional advice if you notice them. So let's dive into these signs, backed by scientific research, to help you better understand this disorder. Before we go any further, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. The first sign to look out for is a lack of eye contact. Eye contact plays a significant role in our daily social interactions. It's a fundamental building block of human connection, helping us understand emotions, intentions, and thoughts. In the context of early development, maintaining eye contact is an essential milestone for infants and toddlers. It's a way for them to connect with their caregivers and the world around them. However, a lack of eye contact can be one of the early signs of autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. It's not about a shy or introverted personality, but more about a different way of experiencing the world. Children on the autism spectrum often find eye contact uncomfortable or even overwhelming. It's like trying to listen to someone while a loud concert is going on in the background. It's not that they don't want to connect, but the process can be too intense for them. This has been backed by several studies, including one by the American Journal of Psychiatry, which found that toddlers diagnosed with autism make less eye contact than their peers. Another study published in Nature Neuroscience observed that babies who later developed autism showed a decline in eye contact from the age of 2 to 6 months. But remember, a lack of eye contact alone doesn't definitively point to autism. It's just one piece of the puzzle. There could be other reasons for this behavior, such as vision problems or social anxiety. It's always crucial to consider the overall context and other potential signs. So if your child avoids eye contact, it's worth discussing with a professional. Another possible sign of autism is delayed communication skills. In the fascinating world of child development, communication skills play a vital role. Typically, children start babbling as early as 6 months, and by their first birthday, they have usually begun to form simple words. They progress to 2-word phrases by the age of 2, and by 3, they're stringing together sentences and engaging in conversation. However, for some children, this developmental timeline may not hold true. Delays in communication skills can be one of the early indicators of autism spectrum disorder. This might manifest as a child not responding to their name by their first birthday, or perhaps they're not pointing at objects to show interest by 14 months. They may also not be engaging in pretend games like feeding a doll by 18 months. Now, it's important to note that every child is unique and develops at their own pace. But significant delays in multiple areas of communication can be a reason for further investigation. Numerous scientific studies point towards a correlation between delayed communication skills and autism. For instance, a study published in the International Journal of Developmental Neuroscience found that children with autism were more likely to have delays in communication skills compared to their peers. Experts also stress the importance of early intervention. Dr. Catherine Lord, a renowned psychologist and autism researcher, has said, "The earlier we can identify the signs of autism, the earlier we can intervene with therapies that can truly make a difference." So, if you notice that your child's communication skills are lagging behind those of their peers, it may be worth seeking a professional opinion. Remember, it's not about labeling your child, but about providing them with the support they need to thrive. Remember, early intervention can make a significant difference. A unique sign of autism is echolalia, or the repetition of words and phrases. Echolalia is a fascinating phenomenon. It's like a parrot's mimicry where children repeat what they hear, often verbatim. But why is it common in children on the autism spectrum? Well, research suggests that it's a part of the language learning process. Most children engage in some form of echolalia as they develop. They're like little sponges, soaking up words, phrases, and sentence structures from their environment. However, in children with autism, this echolalia tends to persist beyond the typical developmental stage, often into late childhood and even adulthood. Moreover, their echolalia often lacks the communicative intent seen in typical language development. For instance, they might echo a question instead of answering it or repeat a phrase from a favorite TV show out of context. It's important to note that echolalia isn't exclusive to autism. It can be a feature of other conditions as well, like Tourette's syndrome or certain types of aphasia. But when viewed in combination with other signs and symptoms, echolalia can be a strong indicator of autism. So if you notice this repetitive speech pattern in your child, don't panic, but do consider seeking a professional assessment. Remember, echolalia, although not exclusive to autism, is often a strong indicator. Some children with autism may withdraw from language altogether. This can be a puzzling experience for parents and caregivers. You may wonder why a child who once seemed to be making strides in language development suddenly becomes silent. The reasons behind this can vary greatly, but scientific research provides some insight. In some cases, children on the autism spectrum may find language overwhelming. The sounds, the rules, the nuances of human communication, it can all be too much. For these children, retreating from language can be a way to cope with sensory overload. In other instances, withdrawal from language might be a sign of a more profound communication difficulty. Some children with autism may have trouble understanding and producing speech, leading them to rely on other means of expression such as gestures or even silence. It's important to remember that every child is unique, and what holds true for one may not hold true for another. But one thing is certain, sudden language withdrawal can be a red flag and should be addressed. If you notice this in your child, seeking professional help can pave the way for improved communication and overall development. Having specialized interests is another sign of autism. When we say specialized interests, we're talking about an intense focus on specific subjects or activities that are often quite narrow and limited. For instance, a child might be passionately interested in trains, dinosaurs, or a particular cartoon character, to the point where it seems to dominate their thoughts and conversations. This isn't just a child having a favorite hobby or pastime, it's a level of focus and detail that goes beyond what is typically expected for their age. Numerous scientific studies have confirmed this observation. For example, research published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders found that children with autism display a higher level of interest in specific topics compared to their peers. They often have an encyclopedic knowledge of their chosen subject, showing a remarkable ability to remember and recall detailed information. So noticing an intense and narrow focus on specific interests can be a sign of autism. But remember, this is just one potential sign, and it's always important to seek a professional assessment if you have concerns. These specialized interests are often a key characteristic of autism. Repetitive behaviors are another common sign in children with autism. These behaviors often go beyond the usual play patterns of young children. They might include things like lining up toys in a specific order, flipping switches on and off, or repeatedly opening and closing doors. It's not just about the repetition though, it's about the intensity and focus. Where a typical child might enjoy spinning a wheel on a toy car for a few moments, a child with autism might do this for hours, to the exclusion of all other activities. According to a study published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders, these repetitive behaviors are often driven by a need for sameness, predictability, and order, which can be comforting for children on the spectrum. It's important to note, however, that not all repetitive behaviors are indicative of autism. Many children go through phases where they enjoy repetition, but when these behaviors persist, interfere with daily life, or seem to be linked to distress or anxiety, it's worth exploring further. These repetitive behaviors can be a clear indication of autism. Children with autism often resist changes in routine. This might seem puzzling to some, but let's delve a little deeper to understand why. Consistency and predictability can be a source of comfort for many of us. However, for children on the autism spectrum, routine can be a lifeline, a way to navigate a world that can often seem overwhelmingly unpredictable. Research has shown that changes, even small ones, can cause significant stress and anxiety for these children. Imagine having to rebuild your understanding of the world around you every time something changes. It can be exhausting, can't it? This is the reality for many children with autism. Their resistance to change often manifests in a variety of ways, such as increased anxiety, behavioral issues, or even a complete shutdown. These reactions are not out of obstinacy, but rather a response to the overwhelming uncertainty that change can bring. A study published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders found that children with autism who had a higher resistance to change demonstrated more severe autism symptoms. This underlines the importance of recognizing and accommodating this resistance in children with autism. It's important to remember that every child is unique and may react differently to changes in routine. Some might need a little extra time to adjust, while others might need more structured support. This resistance to change can be another sign of autism. So, if you notice a child struggling with changes in routine, it might be worth exploring further. Remember, understanding and patience can go a long way in helping children on the autism spectrum navigate the world around them. The last sign we'll cover today is sensory sensitivities. Sensory sensitivities refer to an unusual reaction to sensory information such as sights, sounds, tastes, and textures. While we all have preferences and aversions, children on the autism spectrum often exhibit intense reactions that can seem out of proportion to the sensory input. Autistic children might be hypersensitive, finding ordinary levels of sensory input unbearable. For instance, the hum of a refrigerator, which most of us can easily ignore, might sound like a roaring engine to an autistic child. On the other hand, some children might be hyposensitive, showing little or no reaction to sensory input that would cause a typical person to react. They might not flinch at loud noises or might be indifferent to physical pain. Scientific research supports these observations. A study published in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders found that sensory abnormalities are prevalent in autistic children, affecting up to 90% of those studied. These sensitivities can have a significant impact on daily life, making routine tasks like getting dressed or eating a meal challenging. Moreover, experts like occupational therapists have noted that sensory sensitivities can be a key sign of autism. Dr. Temple Grandin, a prominent autism advocate and herself on the spectrum, has written extensively about her own heightened sensory sensitivity. It's important to remember that sensory sensitivities can vary greatly from child to child. Some children may have only minor sensitivities while others may have severe reactions, and these sensitivities can change over time as the child grows and develops. Sensory sensitivities can often be a key sign of autism. Understanding and accommodating these sensitivities can make a world of difference in the life of an autistic child, helping them navigate their world with more comfort and less anxiety. Remember, early intervention can be crucial, so if you notice these signs, seek professional assessment and support. Understanding these signs can make a huge difference in early detection and intervention of autism. We've journeyed through the terrain of autism spectrum disorder symptoms, from the lack of eye contact to sensory sensitivities. Each sign is a breadcrumb on the path to understanding and supporting a child with ASD. Delayed communication skills, echolalia, withdrawal from language, specialized interests, repetitive behaviors, and resistance to routine changes. These aren't just symptoms but signals, calling for our attention and care. But remember, recognizing these signs is just the first step. It's crucial to seek professional assessment and intervention. Autism isn't a journey a child or family should walk alone. Professionals can provide tools and strategies to help improve communication and integration, and make the journey a little easier. Because every child, autistic or not, deserves the chance to thrive. So, let's keep the conversation going. If you found this video useful, please leave a comment below. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to our children. And before you go, thank you so much for watching our video, and please make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you want to reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes, watch the video on your screen next. Finally, remember to use our calorie and protein calculator in the description below to kickstart and track your fitness journey. It can be your companion and accountability partner on your journey to better health.